Hello everyone, I am Monika Bhushan and today we are starting lecture number 4 of differential equation. So in this class we are going to find out again the complementary function of differential equation, but here we are going to use the method which is called as synthetic division method. Okay, so why we are in need of synthetic division method to find the root of differential equation, we'll see here. Suppose the equation which is given to you, we know that this is differential equation, we want to know the root, correct? We have seen the three steps to find complementary function. First step is we want to write it into d fashion. D is nothing but d by dx or d by dt, whatever is given here, d by dx. Second step is write down the auxiliary equation, and the third is write down the complementary function. These three steps we have seen. Now if I'm writing down equation but I'm finding out that the roots are not easy, the factorization are not easily done, or there is no specific formula for that, so in this case we try to use synthetic division method to come to know which all roots are there. In this differential equation, 4 roots will be there. Why? Because order is 4. So 4 roots will be there, and thus the complementary function will contain 4 terms. Fine. So before starting synthetic division, we'll just see some kind of formula. That means some conditions are there to perform synthetic division. We cannot perform synthetic division for each and every cases. There are some cases which we are going to see, some limitations you can say. So the very first is the divisor must be a polynomial of degree 1. Okay, so the degree of divisor should always be 1. We'll see with the help of example. The second condition is the coefficient of the divisor variable must be 1. Even the coefficient of the divisor will also be 1. And this is the example. What we are doing here, suppose this is any polynomial form, correct? This is some differential equations. I mean, this is not differential, this is a polynomial equation. Now you want to divide it with some other polynomial form. So here this is nothing but you are dividing this polynomial with x plus 3. So dividing it with x plus 3 is okay, but you cannot perform synthetic division if you want to do division by x square plus 3 or x cube by 3 or x4 by 3 or x to the power n by 3. Why? Because it should be having degree 1. Divisor should be having here degree 1 should be there. So sometimes you get confused that why always we give you example of dividing by x plus 1, x minus 1 or something, x plus 3. Why we are not dividing with x square plus 3? Because we cannot using synthetic division. For that the condition is given that the order here should be 1. Divisor should be having coefficient 1. Here the coefficient is 1, and that you can solve also. Suppose some other coefficient is also given, suppose 2 is given, so you can divide it also, that is also okay. But always perform the division when the coefficient is having when the coefficient is actually 1. Okay, so I think this is clear now. So this is one example, valid example to perform synthetic division. In one sentence, what we can say this limitation as: the divisor must be a binomial in the form x minus k. X minus k, x plus k, anything is okay. We'll be performing synthetic division to find the root of this differential equation. And why we want to know this root? Because I want to know what is the complementary function of this differential equation. Here, to get the general solution of this differential equation, only if I find complementary function I will get the general solution, because the right hand side is 0, there is no function here, so I don't need to find out pi. Particular integral is not needed because no function is there. This is 0, this is homogeneous equation only. So just I have to find complementary function to come to know what is the general solution of this differential equation. Okay, so the very first step is what? We write down this differential equation in the form of d, the d notation. What is d notation? D is nothing but d by dx in this case. Okay, so this is what? D to the power 4y. If I write down this into d form, is this is what? D to the power 4y plus d cube y minus 7d square y minus, this is dy plus 6y equals 0. And then here what we have written down, this y just taken common, and till here this is d4 plus d3 minus 7d square minus d plus 6 equals 0. Okay, same thing. I've not done anything, right? I've just rewritten the same equation in d notation. And why I want to write in d notation? Just to make it simpler. Instead of writing these things, I'm just writing down the simpler fashion. Second step is find out that AE, or find out the characteristic equation. How to find characteristic equation? We just replace D with M, and in this characteristic equation we don't add Y. Okay, so we don't add that variable. So only this will be just replace D with M, and this we have got here. Okay, so step 2 is also done. What is my third step? Third step is find out the root and analyze the nature of the root, and based on the nature of the root, just write down the complementary function if the roots are real, repeated real, or I mean that distinct real or equal real or imaginary complex, repeated imaginary complex, whatever. But here the only finding out the root is not that easy, so we are performing synthetic division. Okay, goal is to find out the root of differential equation, right? So here, that by now I am clear that there will be 4 roots. Why? Because order is 4, and I want to divide this polynomial. Have to divide it with the form of x minus k or x plus k in this fashion, correct? For that I need to know what is k. At least one root I want to know. So that root we find by the method which is called as finding out the root by inspection method. And what is this inspection method? That just start with plus 1 minus 1 plus 2 minus 2. Okay, just check with these values, replace m with these values, and then just come to know that whether you are getting 0. If it is satisfying 0, that means this is the root of this equation. So just try with 1. So it will be 1 4, that is 1 plus 1 minus 7 minus 1 plus 6. So this is what? This is minus 7 minus 1 is your minus 8, and this is your 6 plus 2 8. So by inspection method you got that if you are replacing m with 1, you got this is 0, right? That means 1 is 100% root of this auxiliary equation. So one thing you came to know, that if you are writing down m equals 1, that is okay, that is satisfying this equation, right? Or you can write down this m minus 1 equals 0. Both are same, exactly correct. M equals 1, or you can write m minus 1 equals 0. So why I am writing m minus 1 equals 0? Because I want to know that this thing divided by x minus k form. Here I am writing down m minus 1, right? M minus 1. So that only we are doing. If it is m minus 1, so what I will be saying? So this is m minus 1 equals 0, or you will say that m equals 0. Both are same. So this 1, correct? So m is 1. So this 1 I am writing down here because I am going to divide it, right? So this one is present here, and I am just writing down the coefficient of differential equation. So differential equation was what? This was m to the power 4, m to the power 3. So coefficient only I am adding. Coefficient is 1, right? 1, 1 minus 7 minus 1 plus 6. So 1, 1 minus 7 minus 1, 6. I have just written down here. Okay, so now what I am performing here? So this 1 is present here. This m equals 1, m I have written down here. Now what you have to do? Just the first coefficient, the first one, you just as it is, you just put here. So this, what you are going to do, you are just putting one bar here and write down this one as it is here. Okay, what is the use of this one? Now you find out that what is the, do the multiplication. This is 1 ones are 1. Okay, so now 1. Now you add it. So add this 1 and 1, you got this 2. Okay, again you have done this 1 into 1. Now you do what is 1 into 2. 1 into 2 is 2. So that 2 you write down here. This 1 you had written down here. You have written down 2 here. Now you add this 2. To add this 2 with minus 7. So it will be your minus 5. Fine. Now what we are going to do? 1 into minus 5. 1 into minus 5 will give you how much? Minus 5. Then you add this minus 5 with minus 1. Then you got minus 6. Fine. Now what you are doing? Again you keep on doing it. You multiply 1 with minus 6. Then you got minus 6. So write down this minus 6 here. And then add 6 and minus 6. Then you got this 0. And eventually if you are doing in this fashion, that means one root, you already know that m is 1. So always you will be getting no remainder. This is nothing but the remainder. Always it will be 0. So it will show you that your calculation is correct. Now after that what we are doing, since till here we are done, so next is my goal is always same. What is my goal? To know what is the root of this equation, correct? So one root already I came to know. One root was m equals 1, m minus 1. So m minus 1 I have written down. Second is what? Second is now what you have got here. This is your, actually you are writing down in the fashion of m. So since you started with m to the power 4, then here you m already you have taken out, correct? So this will be start with m cube. So this is m cube. This is plus 2 because this is plus 2 plus 2m square. You are not starting with m4. You are starting with m3. So 1 into m3 plus 2 into m square minus 5 into m minus 6 into m to the power 0 will give you how much? Will be 0, 1 or correct. So this is minus 6 and this you are just ignoring, equals 0. This much is done here. Still what is there? That suppose if I am not confident how to find the root of this equation, so again I'll perform synthetic division. So again what my job is, the very first step is we come to know that there will be 3 roots. One root I have to know by inspection method. Inspection method is what? You just try with plus 1, minus 1, plus 2, minus 2. Guessing, I'm starting with 1. If 1 is satisfying this equation, I'll say that 1 is the root of this equation. So I'll write down 1. I'm just replacing m with 1. So m is 1 plus 2 into 1 square. This is 2 minus 5 minus 6. So but this is not giving me 0, correct? This is not 0. So this is not satisfying. So then I'll check with, I'm just doing the inspection method. I'm checking with minus 1. So minus 1 cube will give you minus 1. Then minus 1 square will 2, then plus 5, correct, because minus 1, then minus 6. Now if I see this is minus 7, this is plus 7. Okay, so this is 0. That means I'm sure that 1 is minus 1 is one root of this differential equation. So what I'm going to do? So I'm writing down, either I write down m equals minus 1, that is 100% sure because one root I found, or I'll write down m plus 1 equals 0. Okay, m plus 1 equals 0, or you will write down m minus 1. So this m plus 1, again one factor I got, so that later on I'll write down here. So because of that only I've written down here, like how we have written down m minus 1 here. Okay, so what we are going to do? So now we know that m is minus 1. So this minus 1 is present here. And now I am starting synthetic division. So what I am writing down here? I am writing down the coefficient of this equation. So the coefficient is what? The coefficient here is 1, then 2, then minus 5, then minus 6. So 1, 2, minus 5, minus 6 I have written down. Why I am writing down? Because I am performing synthetic division on this equation, right? So what actually I am doing here? So I am doing this complete thing divided by m plus 1. This is divided by m plus 1. Basically what I am doing here. Okay, so now what I am doing here? So this minus 1, because m equals minus 1. So minus 1 and then this part is done. Now the same thing, right? 1 as it is, you just write down this bar here and then just write down 1 as it is here and start doing this multiplication. Minus 1 into 1 will give you minus 1. Add this minus 1 with 2, so it will give you plus 1. Then again perform minus 1 into 1. This will give you minus 1. Add these two things and you will get minus 6. Then again do minus 6, minus 1 into minus 6. It will give you plus 6. Add plus 6 minus 6. It will give you 0. If this is the root, you will always get no remainder here. So finally, what you are going to write down here? So now you have broken down this order 3 into order 2, because you have already taken out one factor here, right? M equals minus 1 or m plus 1 already taken out. So you will not start with m cube. You are going to start with m square. So this is 1 into m square plus 1 into m minus 6 into m to the power 1, that is 1. So minus 6 equals 0. So finally you got, this is m square plus 1 minus 6. And if complete equation you will get, so two roots already you have got. One is m minus 1, which we had got. Now we are getting 1 plus m, that means m plus 1, and the third is this one. So this we can easily, we can factorize it, right? This is 6 is, you can say that 3 into 2, so plus 3 minus 2 here, so whatever. So this you will get this factorization. So this finally you got the differential equation is nothing but m minus 1, m plus 1, m plus 3, m minus 2 equals 0. So the second step was what? Find out the root of this characteristic equation. You got the root are what? M equals 1, m equals minus 1, m equal minus 3, m equal 2. So you have written down here. And what is the third step? You came to know that the roots are real and they are distinct. So you are writing down the formula of complementary function when the roots are real and distinct. Okay. Now just we'll see one more question here, because in this question we will be adding one more concept here, that when we have to write this coefficient 0 also. So what is first step? Write down the differential equation in d notation. You have written down d cube minus 7d plus 6. Y is this is okay. So here is your y also. Okay, 6y is missing, so y is also there. So you are writing down here what? This is how much? This is your d cube y minus 7dy plus 6y equals 0. So y you have taken out common, so this much is here. Okay. So now what I'm writing down, the second step is write down the auxiliary equation. We have written down, that is what? We are not adding the variable, we are just replacing d with m. This is done here. Now third step is I want to find the root of equation with the help of synthetic division. Okay, I want to know that what is at least one root, right? So because I know that three roots will be there, so one root by inspection method I will find out. By inspection method I'll try 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2. Okay, so if I'll replacing m with 1, so this will be 1 cube minus 7 into 1 plus 6. So you got 6 plus 1, 7 minus 7 equals 0. That means you came to know that m equals 1 satisfying this auxiliary equation. That means m equals 1. That is, you know. So if m equals 1, that means you came to know m minus 1 is one of those factors. M minus 1 is there. So that m minus 1 later we will be writing down. First we have to perform this division. So now what I'm going to do here? Now I know that m equals 1. So this one I am writing down here. This one, because m equals 1, I am writing down here. Now I have to write the coefficient of this AE. So coefficient of m cube is what? Here this is 1. Okay. Now you see that you don't have any term which is m square. So if you don't have m square, you can't just ignore it. This m square is not present because the coefficient of m square is 0. The very general form is what? Minus 0 into m square, minus or plus whatever, then minus 7 into m plus 6 into m, this is m to the power 1, m to the power 0 equals 0. So you find that m cube, that means coefficient is 1, m square coefficient is 0, m to the power 1 coefficient is minus 7, and m to the power 0 coefficient is 6. So that way you have written down. If some term is missing, you have to put 0 for that coefficient. Okay, so what I am going to do now, you know, right? The 1 is just taken out, 1 is present here. 1 into 1 give you 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 0 plus 1 is 1. Then 1 into 1 gives you 1. Minus 7 plus 1 gives you minus 6. Then 1 into minus 6 gives you minus 6. 6 minus 6 gives you, if you are adding, this is giving you 0. 0 you are getting because this is the root of differential equation. So now what you are writing down, m minus 1 I have just written down here. Since you started with m cube, so you are starting with, now the answer will be starting with m square. So 1 into m square plus 1 into m minus 6 equals 0. And this factor, we know that how to find out. So finally my answer is m minus 1, m plus 3, m minus 2 equals 0. That means the roots, the three roots you came to know, this is 1 minus 3 plus 2. So complementary function will be based on the nature of root. Roots are real and distinct. So this is your answer. So if you find this class useful, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.